Let's go ahead and jump right in to Leaf Week. Leaf Week is a very just beautiful way to start our November. It opens up with, I think, one of the most beautiful songs. Well, I can't say that because there's also beautiful, so many beautiful songs of autumn, but The Colorful Trees is a really, really lovely song. So it's a really lovely way to open up our November. So our overview for Leaf Week, we have a lot of sweet, gentle things and a lot of also lovely ways to celebrate the season. We're going to open up with our beeswax leaf dipping. We have some toy polishing, some leaf cookies. It is a really lovely little week. So you have your Leaf Week supplies here. Now, Leaf Week is your second opportunity to do some beeswax leaf dipping. So our first opportunity was back in September at the end of that month for our autumn festival as we celebrated the coming of autumn. But of course, the leaves turning happens in different times in lots of different places. So that was opportunity number one. Opportunity number two for that beeswax leaf dipping is November week 1 for Leaf Week. So if you did not have a chance to, or if your leaves weren't ready yet, this is your chance to dip those leaves if you want. If your leaves were perfect for September and you got to do that then, and now they're already kind of past, you can also skip that and replace that with Play-Doh. So I'll head into a talk about our story and our songs first before I get into our activity. So our story this week, Leaf Mountain. This is a really, really charming story and a really fun way to celebrate leaves. So Leaf Mountain is this really sweet story. It starts off, the opening scene is this kind of colorful tree scene where Hamilton and Thumbkin are taking just a lovely autumn walk, and they're just admiring the colorful trees, and the colorful trees is just, I mean, it is a perfect autumn walk song to just celebrate the tree. So I would say that your colorful tree song is your kind of theme of the week song, not necessarily your circle time song this week, and it is beautiful. And then Petty Palm is so excited because there is a leaf mountain, which of course for a gnome would be a lot of fun. So he jumps into the leaf pile, and then where does he go? And they cannot find Petty Palm, and then I think Thumbkin dives in after, and so they keep diving in after to see where their friends have gone, and they do not return. So then we're left with Hamilton, who is on his own, and he takes Sister Flame with him and dives into the leaf pile and finds himself underneath the leaf pile in one of Morrison's tunnels. Because of course now we have met our friend Mr. Morrison Mole, and he is a part of the community now. And so he reconnects with his friends, and they go through the tunnels, and then they pop up in Rudabug's living room where Petty Palm and Morrison are playing games in Rudabug's living room. And so it is this fun story. It opens with this beautiful scene, kind of this fun and funny, where did he go? And then they find him at the end in Rudabug's living room. So a lot of fun things happen there. And of course, you get this beautiful image of a giant leaf pile for your children to jump in, and a really, really fun hide and go seek song. So as I already mentioned, Colorful Trees is just a moody, beautiful autumny song. So that one is just so lovely. And then Where Did He Go is so fun. Where did Petty Palm go? Where could he be? This is a really, really fun song that you can use for just hide and seek. So you can replace Petty Palm with any child. So that's kind of just like how we do the birthday song, we swap out the name. You can use that kind of idea of swapping out a child's name in oh where did Gabriel go? Oh where could he be? And it's really fun. The words here are just, I think, really charming. So you can use the Where Did He Go song even in circle time. You could cover a child in a pile of silks to pretend that they're under the pile of leaves, and then they can pop out at the end and you can sing the song and dance around them. So a really, really fun interactive song that you can use in circle or outside or however you would like. Where Did He Go is a lot of fun. Then our activities this week, we start off with an option of Play-Doh, or if you have not dipped your leaves yet, this is a great opportunity to do so. So you can do your beeswax leaf dipping. I have some tips here. Of course, I always like to remember beeswax is hot. You can, it's just a little more careful of an activity with your little ones, and beeswax is hard to clean. So just prepare your stations appropriately. I personally have a dedicated beeswax pot because it's so hard to clean. So I just have one pot that I just leave the beeswax in. It just goes right in my pantry, and there is a hard level of beeswax. Anytime I want to do leaves, I just heat that up. It's a double boiler. That is just my beeswax pot. I have two dedicated beeswax spoons, and then I don't have to worry about the cleanup. I always am sure to cover everything in maybe parchment paper or wax paper before we get started, and cover clothes with aprons. But if you can, collect those colorful trees, maybe on an autumn walk, and carefully dip those, and those we will use for our leaf garlands. Now, if you don't have leaves that are ready to use, you can also just do Play-Doh and use, and in your leaf garland activity, you can just use green leaves or flowers or whatever you have available. But of course, those just won't last as long as if they're sealed with leaf dipping. It sounds like leaves in Kansas are just starting to turn, so I'm excited to do the wax activity. Good. Yes, I was hoping that by giving you some opportunities at the beginning of the season or at the end of the season, that anywhere with leaves would have a chance to do that. And then our main lesson for Living Arts Day, which of course is kind of our life skills day, is toy polishing. This is a very lovely, just calming activity. We're using beeswax polish, so if you beeswax dipped in the morning, beeswax polish, it just smells lovely. And this is a great opportunity to really have your children come alongside the caring of our things. So we get to tell them about how we care for our things and polishing them with beeswax. And this can be wooden toys, this could be a wooden spoon from your kitchen. My one suggestion is that this should be natural wood and not colored wood. I wouldn't necessarily recommend you using the polish on something like a Grimm's Rainbow, something that's stained or dyed, because sometimes that can rub those natural dyes. So I would definitely recommend natural wooden toys, spoons, bowls, whatever you have available. Get that beeswax polish and rub, and it just makes everything so lovely and rich and beautiful and really brings those things back to life. So I think I always enjoy this and we like to do it at least once a season with our wooden toys. So it's a really nice, just rhythmical activity that I think your children will really enjoy. Our day 2, of course, are leaf garlands. So if you have dipped your leaves, this is a really simple way to use little clothespins on a string. This is a great little fine motor activity that the children can join along in with those little clothespins, to just pin them on your string and hang those up to enjoy, to really celebrate the season. So it's simple but lovely activity to give some very natural, beautiful decor for your November. Then our maple leaf sandwich cookies is our recipe this week. This one is a little more involved because we have a few steps of rolling the dough, cutting it out, baking them, and then we have a follow-up activity of actually making the little sandwich cookies. And these are in homage to our Canadian friends, these delicious little maple cookies. I had these when someone came back from Canada and they're so delicious. So these are kind of in honor of your Canadian maple leaf cookies, which are so scrumptious. So I hope you enjoy these. These are really fun. So with this, just have appropriate expectations of the steps involved in this activity with the rolling and the cutting. And if you have a group, be really gentle with yourself, as far as there might be a lot of people. If you only have 1 or 2 of the cookie cutters, there might be some waiting and sharing. So just prepare that and just prepare your expectations with your children. Little ones might need a little more assistance using the little cutters. So you can kind of just find what feels best for them. If they're just going to focus on the rolling and then maybe you take over for the cutting, you can kind of trade off. And again, the goal here is connecting over what you're making, doing things together and making memories. So if you're assisting your child through the little punching of those leaf cookies, that is wonderful as well. And if you have an older sibling, they can help and maybe be a little more independent. I actually am going to pause really quick because I missed some questions here. I know our Florida friends, no leaves. I'm so sorry. Questions on our beeswax polishing. A wooden cutting board is a perfect choice for cutting, for beeswax polishing, sorry. And we're slowly moving to wooden toys. Which natural toys do your kids enjoy most? We would love some suggestions. We love even just a few natural blocks. My favorite blocks are actually on our site, our Wondergarten site. They're just multicolored wooden blocks. They're just very versatile. We also adore some wooden figures, wooden peg dolls, wooden animals, and then also some open-ended things like the rainbows or the bridges are also really lovely. We also really love to encourage interconnected toys, so toys that can be used either together or apart. So the little animals can go over the bridge and the little blocks can become little roads, or the little blocks can become play food in your little wooden bowl. So things that can be used imaginatively in different ways rather than just one way would be what I would suggest if you're just embarking on some wooden toy collecting. So One more question here for the beeswax melting. Can you use a candle wax melting pitcher pour? They come in different sections. Oh, that's just a suggestion. Wonderful. All right, thank you. Okay, maple leaf sandwich cookies. We have our adaptations here, and then those are gonna be baked the first day, that day 2, and then they're gonna be assembled on day 3. So day 3, painting day, we're gonna be getting started with leaf rubbing. This is just a classic autumn activity. Of course, this is typically when you'll have your crayons out that day 3 morning, and we are just going to do a lovely, more intentional time with those crayons. Place your leaves vein side up and then a thinner piece of paper on top. The block crayons are just perfect for this. You can use that long side for them to really discover and see the beautiful veins of the leaves, and it's a really, really lovely, lovely activity. So, but thing to note, if you have the thicker drawing paper, sometimes even just thin printer paper works better for this because you really want to be able to see all of those veins come through. And then our day 3 painting, instead of painting, we're going to be assembling those cookies into our little sandwiches. Now this is, again, if you have a group or even just multiple children, this is something that I would suggest you prepare accordingly, especially with your little piping bags here. So I would prepare a piping bag for each child. If you don't have a piping bag, you can use a Ziploc with a little tip cut off so that they can start to begin to build those sandwich cookies, pipe a little swirl, and put those together. So a lot of great little fine motor lessons in there, and of course you can assist them as necessary. Now, when you put these together, they can smoosh. So if you want to smoosh them gently together, and then one little tip before you go to eat them is to chill them for a little bit so that filling can harden, so that when you go to take a bite, it doesn't just splooge everywhere. So the filling will be soft, so you can gently sandwich those together, put them in the fridge for a few minutes to kind of harden up so you can have a little bit better of a eating experience, so you don't get covered in maple filling. But some tips on this, because I have seen questions about maple extract and maple syrup. You can use these a little bit interchangeably. There is imitation maple as well, but I really would encourage you to try to get your hands on real maple extract. But if you can't, you can use a little more maple syrup. The flavor will just be a little less intense. So whatever you can find to make these just kind of mapley will be good. And I think in this, and depending on the brand of your maple extracts, you'll find a different level of lightness or darkness to your cookie. So if your cookies don't turn out quite as dark, the maple extract I used was really dark when we did this. And then the next year I got a different brand and it was lighter, and the cookies turned out much lighter, more like a sugar cookie. So just to let you know, if yours turn out lighter, that's fine. It just might be the different brand of maple extract. So just a little tip there so you know what to look for. There we have it, Leaf Week. It's a really, again, simple week. These little sandwich cookies are scrumptious. Some nice, a nice opportunity for nature walks to collect your leaves for dipping, or that leaf garland. And then of course the leaf rubbing is a really, really lovely activity.